Hello, people of YouTube. Heisenbrew here once again, and tonight we are going to start building our Modern Naya Zoo deck, and it's going to be community build. I want your guys' help with this. We're going to break this up into multiple videos. We're going to do creatures in one video, which is what we're doing tonight, enchantments, sorceries, and instants in another video, and then lands and sideboard in another video. And after each video is posted, I want you guys to look through all the choices that we have for this deck and leave comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think should be in the deck, should not be in the deck, a couple reasons why. If you guys play a Naya Zoo deck in Modern, let me know how you're doing and what your deck looks like. I'm always looking to learn as much as I can and see the differences and find the different nuances in every card. So, let's start taking a look at what creatures are available for this deck. First, we're going to start with a creature that is basically synonymous with this deck, and definitely one that I feel is an automatic inclusion is Wild Nacatl. Oh, definitely one of the best one-drops in Magic history. It's a 1/1 for 1, but it gets +1/+1 as long as you control a mountain, and also gets +1/+1 as long as you control a plains. So obviously we would drop her down with a forest, and then if we had something like Sacred Foundry on the battlefield, well, it gets both buffs from that, so it's a very, very, very fast 3/3. We can grow it really quick from turn 1. If we get other copies onto the battlefield on later turns, 2 or 3, then that's just icing on the cake, really, if you ask me. This is definitely a card I think we should include, but let me know what you guys think. Next up is a card that is also a very powerful one-drop and seen in many zoo lists as well. That is Curdape. Curdape is a 1/1 for 1 red mana, and if you control a forest, Curdape gets a +1/+2. So having a forest into play, which we would because this is a Naya colored deck, it would become a 2/3 for 1, also a very powerful creature, and something that would easily be pumpable, which we'll be talking about the pump spells in our next video, and the instant sorceries and enchantments. Now, the next creature we're going to take a look at is a very good creature, and it's actually kind of got its own version of Zoo deck, and that is Reckless Bushwhacker. Now, it is a 2/1 for 3, 2 colorless, 1 red mana. However, it does have Surge, so if you've cast a spell already on the turn you're playing this, the Surge cost is just 1 colorless and 1 red. So, say on turn, we'll say 3, you play a Lightning Bolt, well, then you could Surge for this, or if we use like a Phyrexian pump spell and use the Phyrexian mana, pay a life, you're still playing a spell, so we could still cast this for a Surge cost even on turn 2. It is a 2/1. It does have haste. When Reckless Bushwhacker enters the battlefield, if its Surge cost was paid, other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. So if we're able to drop this and another creature, or 2 even, down onto the battlefield, then they get the pump, and they all got haste, so we can swing in for a lot of hasty damage. Definitely a good card. I'd like to know what you guys think of the Bushwhacker, if you think it's good enough to be in this deck, fast enough to be in this deck, or if maybe it's better left out. Now, the next creature we're going to look at is not really seen in too many traditional zoo lists, but I can see the merits that it has, and that is Simian Spirit Guide. This is a card I really don't think we'd ever actually drop into play because it's a 2/2 for 3. However, having it in our hand could be beneficial because if we exile it from our hand from the game, we get to add 1 red mana to our mana pool. So it's a very easy way to mana ramp, because zoo decks normally really don't run much, if any, mana ramp. So the Spirit Guide would definitely help us out. You know, if we've got a Bolt or something like that in our hand, Monastery Swift Spear, anything like that, that's a 1 red mana, and we've got this in our hand, we just take this out of the game, and we've got a red mana. So I think maybe it's an interesting inclusion into the deck. I mean, would you guys use the 60 card deck space on Simian Spirit Guide to help with your mana, or do you think it's just too much? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Alright, the next card we are going to look at is another card that's definitely one of the best one-drops ever printed aside from Wild Nicottle, and that's Monastery Swiftspear. Sees a lot of modern play, sees a lot of frontier play. The price has actually gone up. It was $1.99 2 days ago, so it's gone up a couple cents. Anyway, it is a 1/2 for 1. It does have haste, but it also has prowess, so whenever we cast a non-creature spell, i.e. instant, sorcery, enchantment, anything like that, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn, so it's a 2/3 very easily. It does have haste, can be pumped very easily. Using Phyrexian Pump spell, we could just pay the 2 life, and it would still get the prowess trigger because technically we did play a non-creature spell. Can definitely do a lot of damage turn 1. Okay, if we had a really good draw, opening hand, so we have a Swiftspear, we have Simian Spirit Guide, and we play a mountain, we have a lightning bolt. You're able to bolt them, you're able to put down the Swiftspear, and get the prowess trigger and hit for more damage. Pretty good if you ask me. Swiftspear is starting to see play in a lot of different zoo variety builds. Definitely one I think we should add, but I'd like to see what you guys think about that one. Alright, the next one sees play in various zoo builds too. I haven't seen really too many in just a basic Naya build. However, Vexing Devil is interesting. It's a 4/3 for 1 red mana. It doesn't have haste, but a 4/3 for 1, it's pretty good, especially if you're able to drop this and like a Bushwhacker down on the same turn. When Vexing Devil enters the battlefield, any opponent may have it deal 4 damage to him or her. If a player does, sacrifice Vexing Devil. So even if it doesn't get to stay on the battlefield, if they don't want it to be on the battlefield, they're still taking 4 damage. So you paid 1 red mana for them to take 4 damage. It's more than a lightning bolt. That's pretty good, I think. It'd be completely broken if it had haste. So as long as it doesn't eat a removal spell, it's going to do something for you. So that's why I've got some copies, and that's why I included it in this video as an idea, possibly to put in our deck. I don't know. I think it's a pretty interesting creature. So next up, we have. Come on, computer. Oh. There we go. Next up, we have Gore Clan Rampager. It's a 4/4 for 4, 2 colorless, 1 red, 1 green. It does have trample. However, in zoo builds, when you include this creature, it's really not meant to be cast. I mean, if you did have to hard cast it, you could, but by turn 4, you're really wanting to pretty much be winning, not dropping this down. Normally, it's used for its ability, which is Blood Rush. You play 1 red and 1 green. Discard it, and target attacking creature gets +4/+4 and gains trample until end of turn. So, I mean, it's a creature, but normally you're using it as a pump spell. Really good, used in a lot of zoo builds. Definitely something that I think has its merits to be included. Next up, we have the original Bushwhacker, Goblin Bushwhacker. And it's kind of like Reckless Bushwhacker. It is cheaper. It is just 1 red, but it is only a 1/1 instead of a 2/1. However, it has Kicker, which is another red. So if you do pay the 2 red, when Goblin Bushwhacker enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. Now, unlike Bushwhacker, which can't pump itself, this does pump itself and the rest of your team, and also gives them haste like the Bushwhacker. So obviously this would only be a 2/1 for 1 turn, where Reckless Bushwhacker's 2/1 always. So I mean, if that pumped itself, if the Reckless Bushwhacker pumped itself, I mean that would be kind of broken as well. So I've got some copies of Goblin Bushwhacker, another interesting creature I think we might want to add in. And the last, well, not really a creature card per se, but last card we will look at for the creature video is Nahiri the Harbinger, Planeswalker, 4-drop, 2 colorless, 1 red, and 1 white. Starts off with 4 loyalty. Her +2 is you may discard a card if you do draw a card. Something like that can come in handy if you have some Madness cards in your deck, and you're also getting to replace the cards you're drawing a card, which is pretty interesting. Her -2, exile target enchantment, tapped artifact, or tapped creature. So, if they attacked with a creature that you want to get rid of, -2, that'll do it. Enchantment removal is always good to have. Tapped artifact, it'd be nice if it could get rid of something that doesn't tap, like Chalice of the Void, anything like that. Relic of Progenitus. Obviously, most of the time a tapped artifact is going to be a creature, so I guess it could be good against something like Tron. But she is a 4-drop, but there is a lot of modern decks playing Planeswalkers now, so it's interesting inclusion. I don't know. I've seen it play in 2 builds at my local store. She does pretty well, but with Modern being such a fast format, I don't know if we'd ever had time to put her down. I mean, technically, if we had a Simian Spirit Guide or 2 in our hands, we could drop her down earlier than turn 4, but I don't know. You guys mull it over and let me know what you think. Anyway, that is all for the creature video. I definitely want to know what you would include in the deck, what you wouldn't include in the deck, reasons why, either way. And our next video is going to be instants, sorceries, and enchantments. Got a pretty large stack of those that we can go through for ideas. And then we will do lands and sideboard. Thumbs up the video, subscribe if you haven't yet. And like I said, please comment below. This is a community build deck. I want this to be all of us building this deck, and I want to play it and report back on how we do. And I'd like to make this a regular series. I've got a bunch of different cards and different deck ideas for Modern and Standard. I don't play Vintage or Legacy. Way too rich for my blood, but definitely do Standard and Modern. And in fact, I've got the blue-red Zoo deck. They call it blue, with Kiln Fiend Thing in the Eye. So I've got all the cards for that deck and more, so we can look at that. And then I've got a bunch of cards for Standard too. And Aether Revolt pre-release starts, at least at my local game store, tomorrow night at midnight. So next week, when that releases, we'll have the card pool for that as well, and start brewing some more. Anyway, you guys have a good night. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned tomorrow for the next video in our community built Naya deck series. Thank you.